Hi, and welcome to So Many Books, So Little Time podcast. My name is Jody Stapler. I'm an owner of a publishing company called Willow Moon Publishing, a podcaster, a voiceover artist, and an author. Stories are so important in our lives, and there are so many out there from independent authors and independent publishing companies that we may never find unless we trip over them on accident. So I started this podcast for people who love books and love to read, and to help bring more awareness to the indie books and authors of our time. So stay with me for So Many Books, So Little Time. We are speaking with Kathleen Quinton today. She is a life coach. She's the author of the children's book, The Adventures of Quint, the bookmobile, as well as the self-help book, Question Your Thoughts, Empower Your Life. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Jody. This is exciting.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit. First, let's talk about the self-help book. You are a life coach, so this obviously comes from your expertise. So what exactly, like I read it says, releasing negativity and living the life of your dreams. So what does that mean? It's a deep question.
It is a deep question. And first off, I want to say the book is going to be republished in 2 months' time.
Nice. Okay.
And it will be under a new title and a new cover. It just needs a little bit of a facelift. To answer your question, releasing negativity and living the life of your dreams was the subtitle after I really gave a lot of consideration to when I'm with clients, when they question their thoughts, their lifelong thoughts, and realize that sometimes they have some thoughts that they've turned into truths that aren't necessarily a truth, but maybe when they were very young, they thought that if they were bullied, that there was something wrong with them, or they weren't good enough, or they had imposter syndrome, all those things that many of us have, if not all of us have it sometimes in our lives. So if you question those thoughts and push them away and replace them with a positive thought about yourself and about circumstances, things really start changing.
And how do your clients, how are they able to do that? I mean, that you're telling yourself something for so long. And you're right. You start believing it, and you become that because you've been thinking it. And how do they get out of that habit?
That's another great question, Jody. I actually set the book up in sections, and the chapters are almost set up in a way I take my clients through it. One of the very first things we do is we get clarity. We get clarity on what they don't want in life, what they don't like about what's going on in their life. And then we go right from understanding that to what they do want. It's a powerful process that we do, but anyone can do it at home. It is amazing and uplifting and life-changing to realize that all you have to do is understand what you want in life and what you can do about it, and to take action on that and stop considering all the other negativity and stop even focusing on that. When you focus on the things that you don't want in life and your negative thoughts, you're giving energy to that, energy that you need to move forward in a clear way, in a more positive way.
Absolutely. Now, what is the new title going to be?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
Not quite sure. I have a few ideas. It's going to be a little shorter, and it basically, the book is on coaching. It's coaching sessions that I've had with my clients, and it also has stories in it and different little processes that people can do at home. So I just want to be a little more succinct with my title.
Okay. Yeah. And is it like do you have like like a lot of self-help books have like little tests, and this is what you need to do, and written and that kind of thing, or is it more stories of how things have progressed in your clients' lives, or how exactly is it set up?
It's set up with processes. There's some processes in there. There's stories and there's anecdotes. So there's all of the above. I
Okay.
have some of real life coaching sessions in there. If we're talking about clarity, say my first chapter is on clarity. It was almost on grounding because
Mm,
it's almost those are two that are needed to really get going on change. So the process of clarity is in there, and I can share that with your listeners today. What I have my clients do is it's best if you can do it with a coach, but if not, you can seriously do this yourself at home. Write down 5 things that you don't want in life. I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the left side of the paper. Write down vertically. Put a line right down the middle. And number 1, I don't want to not live a physically healthy life. Number 2, I don't want to feel like I'm not good enough. Number 3, and on. And of course, it's their individual things that they
mm,
don't want that matter to them. And then when we really do a deep dive on what they don't want, then we do an equally deep dive on what they do want. And that's when the magic starts happening. And then we cross off everything on the left side of the paper, Jody, very strongly. And we get a commitment that that's not going to be their focus. And then the 5 priorities of what they do want in life is their focus from then on. And then we start putting some action steps together. And it gets very powerful. People a lot of times write a mission statement after doing this process. They'll come up with taglines, they'll hang things around the house, and they just get a new feel about themselves. They
yeah,
realize they are good enough. It starts
right.
happening.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great way to look at things that you're going from all your negatives that you've been putting out that negative energy and you're flipping it around to the positive. And yeah, I've seen this work for a lot of people. So yeah, it's a great book, and I'm glad that you're revamping it so that more people can find it.
Thank you.
And so when they go to look for it, I guess the best way to do it for now would be to look under, if they're looking at Amazon or Barnes and Noble, would be under Kathleen Quinton, and then that book will come up.
Yes, and again, I would like them to do that in a couple months.
Yes,
I will
right.
it will be out. Think of it as launching in 2 months' time. And right now, I just launched a children's book, and I have another children's book coming out in April, probably very close to the time I'll be revamping my self-help book.
Okay. Okay. And so let's talk about the children's book. The first one, of course, that is published is The Adventures of Quint, the Bookmobile, and it is
Yes,
so cute.
thank you.
Yeah, the illustrations are awesome. Who did you find to do those for you?
I actually have the illustrators are Eminent Systems, and I found them through Fiverr, and I am incredibly happy with them. And they're illustrating as of today. They are starting to illustrate book number 2.
Awesome. And what's book number two about?
It's actually Quint has another adventure. The first adventure is he's moving from the big red shop where he came to life,
Yeah.
and he's leaving the 3 generations of shopkeepers and his best friend, the big brown dog Barnabas. And then he moves into the town and the community, into his new forever home, the Trammell Library. So he has to conquer his fear to deliver the keys of knowledge to the people of Ronyville. Book number 2 will be he is now an established bookmobile living in the Trammell Library, and he did conquer his bravery, and now he'll be making some stops, and it gets a little exciting because he starts having Barnabas, the big brown dog, ride along with him.
Oh my gosh. I do. I love the first one. And the second one sounds adorable as well. The first one I love, first of all, that, not a lot of kids know what a bookmobile is. So you kind of go through that explanation in the beginning. Even the little introduction is explaining how you had a bookmobile when you were a kid in your area and
Yes.
how special it was for all the kids in the area. And so I love the whole premise. I wish the towns around me would do it. And maybe they do, and I just don't realize it. But bookmobiles are really an important part, especially in inner cities and things like that. So
Oh,
I think
yes.
it's a really cool book.
Yes, they help schools with they extend their libraries. They go to assisted living homes. They help in rural areas. I've romanticized them since I was a little girl. I
Oh,
loved running down the street to our bookmobile. It was a place where you met the children in the neighborhood, your friends, and you learned to get excited about books. And if you didn't have a household where you had that many children's books, wow, did it extend your love of books and education. And there's about 900 still running active in the United States. They are around the globe, and they have been in the book. We talk about the animals, the bookmobiles that have come a long way since they were invited in the traveling libraries. Books on elephants and camels and in boats and on bikes, and it's just it's part of our history. It's part of our culture, and it's pretty amazing when you think people for so many years, have been trying to get books in the hands of our children.
oh, absolutely. Well, I know that like my children have always been excited to go to the library.
Yes.
That's always been, oh, are we going to the library today? And there's something special about that. So the thought of having a bookmobile come like the ice cream truck
Right.
is just something that would be so exciting for the kids around here. I really do wish that people would start this up in our area. Maybe I'll have to like go talking to people about it.
You may have to be the one to start it up. And it's funny
Right?
that you said like the ice cream shop, because in book two, that's the setting. It's at an ice cream shop
Oh,
where
very cute.
where where Quint goes. And of course, there's a lot of people in this incredible ice cream shop, and other things are happening around it. And that becomes one of the stops, and it becomes an attraction in the community. And people get their books that time of
Yeah.
week.
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, the pictures are great. Now, what age range would you say this is for?
I would say 4 to 8 years old for
Yeah.
sure. It's a little interactive. There's hidden keys throughout the page. I notice when I do a reading at a library, the 4-year-olds and 3-year-olds really get a huge kick out of finding the keys, and even
Yeah.
the 5-year-olds, all of them, even the 8-year-olds
Right.
want to find the
Right.
keys. But the older children get the story. They understand that Quint's conquering his fear and going off on on a new move, and meeting new people and getting a new home, and that he has a mission to deliver books, and there's a lot of history to the bookmobile, and it's the way to introduce it to
Yeah,
those that
absolutely.
don't know about it. It's a
Yeah,
lot of
and
fun.
there's great lessons in it.
I hope so.
Yeah, yeah. And it's saying that even the older kids like looking for the keys. And I immediately was thinking, last night I was at a restaurant with my family and I was the one looking on the kids menu for all the little bees they had hidden. So I would probably do the same thing.
Yeah, and it's a little question and answer in the back, just fun, nothing to
Yeah.
stress anybody, but just to see what they thought about the story, what they understood, why Quint was afraid, how do you feel when you conquer your fear? Little things just to have them thinking a little bit about those things for themselves.
Oh, I love it. So where can everybody find this book?
That book you can it's online right now at Barnes and Noble. It's also online at Amazon, so it's out there.
Okay.
It's
And do you have a website that they can also go to?
I have a website for my coaching right now, Jody. I'm in
Okay.
the process of putting together an author website. So for
Perfect.
my coaching business is called Quintessential Coaching.
Oh, cute. So Quint comes from that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Quint comes from that, and much more than that, because my husband is the one that owns the big shop, and he's the real bookmobile maker. And
Okay.
in our family, there's the 3 generations of bookmobile makers. So it's
Are
kind
you
of fun.
serious? So this is
Yeah,
like a true story
it
almost.
is. It's realistic fiction, I would say. And
Yeah.
then when we visit in book two, when we visit the ice cream shop, we'll be visiting the owners of the ice cream shop are 3 generations of gardeners. So we're going to kind of
Wow.
just fun, historic, wonderful things that have been going on for a long time to build communities and make
Yeah.
it better.
Yeah. Now where are these located in real life?
In real life, my husband's shop is in Worcester, Mass. We live outside of Worcester. We live in between Boston and Worcester, Mass.
Okay.
And the stories will be located around the community I live in, which is Metro West.
Yeah, and this it just reminded me as well, like I don't know if you remember the I think it's called The Little Red Lighthouse. It was a book from when probably in the 70s, but it was something that I remembered as a child. So when we took a road trip up, and it's in the islands of like off of New York, we made sure to go see where the Little Red Lighthouse was. So that seems like something that kids, if they really, love this book, that later on they might go, oh, where was this bookmobile? Where is this located?
Well, there's a few out this way. We're very fortunate. Massachusetts has the bookmobile is alive and doing very well in Massachusetts and other parts of the country. I'm sorry for that
No, that's
noise.
okay.
Yes.
It's awesome that they have that many bookmobiles. I would love to hear from people if they have a bookmobile in their locations.
There are 900 in the country active. There are many communities in many states that realize how wonderful this is for the community, and they share books this way. And it's from they're able with the bookmobile, Jody. They're able to get to people from 2 to 92.
Yeah.
The stops are everywhere, and it's just wonderful. And I'm glad. I don't know if they're making a comeback or I'm hearing a lot of interest about bookmobiles right now.
Yeah. Well, I hope they do because I hope they're out there because people and books, we as human beings need those stories to kind of take us out of our own lives or add excitement and adventure. So I think it's, books, of course, to me are some of the most important things. And I honestly don't feel like, just like my podcast says, there's not enough time for all the books that are out there. So a bookmobile is definitely a big help, and especially for people who are not able to get to the libraries or the bookstores and things like that.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Busy moms, busy dads, people that have, just like you said, aren't able to get there. But also we have homeschooling is becoming so big in our country, and this supports the parents that are doing the homeschooling, and certainly helps them financially. They don't have to go out and invest in all these books, and they can come to them,
Right.
And they can easily get to them. So it's fun. It's just great. It's something that I just hope the book is enjoyed, and it just has a nice little message for everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's very exciting that you have a second one coming out. And do you think you'll keep going with these?
I think I have for sure. I have 3. The third one's set at a farm, and for sure. And if they take off, I'm certainly going to keep going with them. And we can, we can add little other sister bookmobiles or something. We never know where it will take us, Jody.
Right. Well, I think it's a great theme of a book. And like I said, the pictures are wonderful, and the lessons in it, and just sharing that love of books, of course, is always wonderful. So thank you so much for writing it and for continue writing all about Quint.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me today.
Jody, thank you for having me. And maybe we can talk in a couple months when I launch the self-help book again. And it was just wonderful talking to you. And I love what you do. Thank you for spreading the word for all the authors and helping us get our books out there. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. And I would love to have you back.
Thank you, Jody.
Thanks. I want to thank Kathleen Quinton for joining me today and talking to me about her self-help book, as well as her children's book, The Adventures of Quint, the Bookmobile, The Big Move to Ronyville. Check out Kathleen at her website, quintessential-coaching.com. And I want to thank you for joining me on So Many Books, So Little Time. Let me know what books you're reading, what authors I should interview, and give me your suggestions and comments. If you appreciate our podcasts, books, music, and our goal of helping others fulfill their artistic career dreams, and would like to see it continue for many years to come, please join our Patreon and become a sponsor at Willow Moon Publishing. Make sure you subscribe to So Many Books, So Little Time podcast so that others can find me and all the great indie books and authors that I'll be sharing throughout this podcast. You can join me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at So Many Books, So Little Time Podcast. And you can check my website out at jodystapler.com or email us at somanybookspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for joining me, and come back next week when we delve into another story.